What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a brand new Liverpool transfer news video, and we have to talk about the conflicting reports coming out in the media about Jude Bellingham's potential transfer and also his potential transfer to Liverpool, because some journalists are saying that he's very close to signing Liverpool, that Liverpool are in pole position, and Liverpool basically waited 2 transfer windows or maybe even 3 transfer windows to sign Jude Bellingham. They are putting all their eggs in one basket, and then we are putting all our money on Jude Bellingham, and that's why we didn't sign a midfielder last summer, that's why we didn't sign a midfielder in January apparently, to save money for Bellingham. So now if Liverpool, and this is David Ornstein's tweet, it's very concerning, he's a very well informed journalist, but either he is getting briefed by someone inside Bellingham's camp, or he's just putting a speculation out there, and he's trying to get views to his article. He says that as things stand, Liverpool are increasingly unlikely to sign Jude Bellingham this summer. An expected price and the financial power of rivals like Man City and Real Madrid puts Liverpool's hopes in doubt of signing Bellingham. The pursuit is not off and no firm decisions, but the sense is that Real Madrid and Manchester City are in stronger positions. Well, we knew that anyway, and we knew Bellingham's price was huge anyway. So what is he saying exactly? And I was afraid this was happening because Liverpool didn't pay top dollar for top midfielders when we were on top, when we were literally the most attractive club in the world, when we were Premier League champions, when we were Champions League winners, when we almost won the quadruple. Liverpool were one of the most, if not the most attractive clubs in the world, and that was the time to rejuvenate the midfield. That was the time to attract world-class talent to our club, or potential, world-class young players with world-class potential, and Liverpool dropped the ball on this, in my opinion. And if FSG don't want to invest in Jude Bellingham when he is literally the biggest talent in midfield at just 19 years old, this is the worst news to wake up to for Liverpool fans. We were sold a dream by the amount of reliable journalists labeling us as favorites to sign Jude Bellingham. So FSG had more than enough time to plan this move. They had like 2 years basically, and according to Jose Enrique, a former Liverpool player, it was always obvious that he's going to cost a lot of money, but there is no doubt that it would be worth it. And Liverpool, what I find absolutely baffling is Liverpool always knew that this would take a massive transfer fee and other huge clubs would be in for Bellingham. So it makes no sense to wait a whole year or 1.5 years for Jude Bellingham, putting other signings on the back burner to do so, to then just not get into the bidding war. It just doesn't make any sense to me. The bottom line is most journalists nowadays don't even get briefed on what kind of targets Liverpool are pursuing. Cody Gakpo, he was linked to Man United for like 6 months. And yes, he was linked to Liverpool, but only slightly and only briefly, and only a few journalists linked Cody Gakpo to Liverpool. And then in the space of 3 hours, it was announced that Liverpool are signing him, just like that. So most journalists, and that includes David Ornstein, don't really know anything about the inside workings of Liverpool FC. But of course, you can't deny that some leaks happen and some journalists get information that others don't. And that's how Paul Joyce, for example, knew that Liverpool wouldn't buy anyone after Cody Gakpo, and also David Ornstein knew Liverpool have been put up for sale. What is really worrying is still we don't know who is in charge of Liverpool transfers. We don't have a sports tech director, we don't even have one lined up. The medical department is an absolute disaster. It's a shit show at Liverpool, and people leaving left, right and center. This football club, Liverpool FC, isn't the brilliant institution that it was like 3 years ago. A lot of people are leaving, and that's very concerning, and it is coincided with terrible performances on the pitch as well, and that's no coincidence. But of course you have to admit that some journalists are just sharing opinion, and other journalists are sharing direct information that they are getting from Liverpool Football Club. And for example, James Pearce is sharing information that Liverpool Football Club wants him to share. So he's pushing the FSG agenda, FSG train. And I mean, if Liverpool and if FSG don't give Jurgen Klopp at least 250 million pounds to spend in the summer without selling some of our top stars, and I mean Alisson, I mean Van Dijk, I mean Salah, if Liverpool sell those and then give Jurgen Klopp 250 million, then it doesn't really count, because then our net spend will be very low. So if FSG and don't give Jurgen Klopp proper funds, and I mean spend at least 150, 200 million on top of the player sales and the money coming in from player sales. If FSG don't do that, then hopefully more and more of the Liverpool fan base will wake up and see what kind of PR spin FSG are doing with the fan base. They are constantly lowering expectation. They are constantly saying that if we don't finish in the top 4, we won't have as much money to spend. We have to extend all of these contracts. We have to give all of these bonuses out to players. And even if we finish in the top 4, some journalists will say that Liverpool have to give bonuses to players for finishing top 4, and that's why we can't sign this player and that player, and that's why we don't have enough money to spend. The bottom line is FSG are just businessmen who don't really care about Liverpool winning trophies. They struck gold by hiring Jurgen Klopp. They struck gold by hiring, of course, brilliant transfer strategists, data analysts. But a lot of those people are leaving or have already left the club, and that is hugely concerning. Why are they not being replaced? Why are Jurgen Klopp not given the proper tools to start this or to continue this Liverpool rebuild? Yes, we rebuilt the attack pretty brilliantly. Firmino is leaving. Mane already left, Salah is still here and he's still world class, but we signed Luis Diaz, we signed Jota, we signed Gakpo, we signed Darwin Núñez. That's a proper rebuild of the attack, because the Liverpool classic front three of Mane, Firmino, Salah, that was the best front three for like 3 or 4 years in the world. And many were thinking we can't sell all of those players and then replace them at once. So Liverpool gradually, almost every transfer window, we signed someone. We signed Luis Diaz last January, we signed Darwin Núñez last summer, we signed Cody Gakpo this January, and we signed Diogo Jota like 2 years ago. So it has been a gradual rebuild. Why on earth did Liverpool not do that with the midfield? Imagine if every transfer window we sign a proper midfielder like we signed a proper attacker for the past 3 transfer windows. Then we would be absolutely fine. But FSG probably ran out of care or money to give to Jurgen Klopp, and I don't get this, honestly. The Arsenal owner, Stan Kroenke, who was absolutely not backing Arsenal, even when they were in the Champions League, suddenly, when a lot of Arsenal fans were protesting against the owners of Arsenal, suddenly, even though Arsenal haven't been in the Champions League for like 4 or 5 years, suddenly they are spending 250 million on new players. And look where they are. They went from 5th place and out of the Champions League and disgraced by Tottenham to 5 points clear. Well, right now they are 8 points clear on top of the league, ahead of Man City by 8 points. Yes, Man City have a game in hand, but still, that's a remarkable achievement. And if Arsenal can spend 250 million without Champions League football, Liverpool, sure as hell, can spend 250 million in one transfer window, because we have made 3 Champions League finals in 5 seasons. What did Arsenal do in the past 5 seasons? They didn't even qualify for the Champions League regularly. So why can't Liverpool spend money that Arsenal can? It's absolute nonsense, and I don't buy this PR spin by FSG that the Liverpool don't have any money. It's absolutely ludicrous. And yes, a lot of Liverpool fans will say, oh, Liverpool had it a lot worse than this. Yes, we had the Brendan Rodgers era, except that for that one free season where Luis Suarez scored 31 goals and we almost won the league. We had Roy Hodgson, we had the last year of Rafa Benitez, we had the last year of, Gerard Houllier. Even before that, the Souness and Roy Evans years. Some of that was absolutely dreadful, yes. But Liverpool are a massive club. We are the club the same size as Manchester United, Real Madrid or Barcelona, we shouldn't settle for mediocrity. We shouldn't accept just getting top 4. We shouldn't accept for languishing in 7th place. We should be fighting for trophies and titles, and the owners of Liverpool should have that ambition as well. And unless you build a team and a squad for Jurgen Klopp capable of challenging for the Premier League, challenging for the Champions League trophy every year or every 2 seasons out of 3 years, you have failed as owners. You have absolutely failed. And I don't care if Liverpool are generating massive revenue. If the playing side is not generating trophies, if the playing side is not getting into positions of power to challenge for the title, to challenge for the Champions League, then you have failed as owners. And that's my honest opinion, but let me know what is yours. I would love to hear it. And what is really painful is that we are wasting some of the best years of Jurgen Klopp and some of the prime years of our players. We are wasting some of the prime years of Alisson, who is the best goalkeeper in the Premier League, and some pundits are even saying that Alisson is the best goalkeeper ever in the Premier League's history, and also in Champions League history as well. He saved literally 11 goals. Liverpool would have conceded 11 goals more on the expected goals against chart if it wasn't for Alisson's heroic, which is by far the most by any goalkeeper. And also, even some of our top players are coming out and saying that we need to bring in fresh blood and it's essential. Virgil van Dijk has called FSG on to sign players twice now in interviews. And also, some Liverpool players are already giving interviews saying that they are absolutely knackered because of the playing time. Some of the Liverpool players for the past 4 years played more games than anybody else. And it's not a coincidence that Liverpool are getting the most injuries in the whole league. In fact, Liverpool are getting more injuries this season than in any team in any Premier League season, and that is saying a lot. But yet there are some fans who are still defending FSG's policies, and they are saying you are wrong if you say FSG out. And I respect their opinion, but I don't agree with them. I want what's best for Liverpool FC, and I don't see right now that the owners are what's best for Liverpool FC. Unless, as I said, if they back Jurgen Klopp with 250 million, at least 200 million net, so any player sale money that Liverpool get, you have to put at least 200 million on top of that to have a brilliant transfer window, and you have to sign the right kind of players and at least 2 midfielders, a centre back, a right back, and maybe even a young attacker. But I would settle for 2 midfielders, a centre back and a right back. And yes, you can sell some players, but then you have to put that money into the player transfers as well. And imagine how some of the top players like Alisson, Van Dijk, Salah feel. They put absolutely everything into Liverpool for the past 4 years. They performed absolute miracles with Jurgen Klopp on the side as well. And they are expecting the Liverpool owners to refresh the side. They are absolutely expecting top-class signings, world-class signings to come through the door. And yet we signed 1 senior midfielder in 4 years. And that is just not good enough. And I don't know any big club in the world who only signs 1 midfielder in 4 years, especially when your midfield is already aging, it's already declining, it's already in desperate need of a rebuild. And yet you sign 1 midfielder in 4 years. And it's no coincidence that Virgil van Dijk openly criticized the Liverpool owners. And the players performed for years, and they expect the same big performance from the owners. Bill Shankly said it perfectly. The owners are there to write checks and let everything else to the manager, to the player, and to the fans. I think it has been going on all season that they are mentally exhausted because they are physically exhausted, and they desperately wanted and needed a midfielder signing, a big midfielder signing. Last summer they wanted it in January, and when it hasn't arrived, the Liverpool players felt, we are running ourselves into the ground, and there is still no backing from the owners. And that can completely deflate you as well. And a lot of Liverpool fans are saying, and more are saying, that there is nothing that will indicate proper support from the owners this summer to back Jurgen Klopp's rebuild. Because that has happened with the Boston Red Sox, and that has happened with the Pittsburgh Penguins as well, that it is mainly owner neglect since 2019 at the Boston Red Sox. In the Major Baseball League, FSG are one of the most hated owners. The Boston Red Sox fans are absolutely hating FSG and what they have done to that franchise, because they were really, really great, and they won the World Series I think twice or 3 times after a long, long wait, just like Liverpool have won the Premier League after a long, long wait, and the Champions League after a long wait as well. But since then, the owners have really neglected the Boston Red Sox. They have neglected the Liverpool. And Liverpool didn't buy a lot of big players unless we sold somebody for crazy money. The Philippe Coutinho sale was single-handedly is what saved FSG, in my opinion, because if that £140 million transfer fee doesn't come in, we don't sign Virgil van Dijk, we don't sign Alisson, we don't sign probably Fabinho and other players. And yes, FSG have signed 30, 40, 50 million pound players here and there, but it has neglected the midfield, and I just don't understand why. How can you spend 80 million pounds on Darwin Núñez and not sign a midfielder? You spend 36 million pounds on Gakpo, and it's a brilliant signing, but why not sign a midfielder as well? I just don't understand this, honestly. But let me know, what do you think in the comments below, and thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. Have a nice day. See you later, guys. Goodbye.